Hey everyone, in today's video I wanted to show you Laying Down the Rails for Children, a Habit Training Companion. This is from Simply Charlotte Mason. There are two books, books 1 and book 2. So I just wanted to give you a look inside so you can see what this is all about. Okay, so let's just open it right up. Now, there's really no difference between book 1 and book 2 except for that they cover different habits, but you can start with either one. You can mix and match. It's just broken up into 2 books instead of being one huge book. So that's really the only difference. Okay, so we have in book 1 the foreword, the introduction, how to use, and then it's separated into categories of habits. So as you can see here, I have highlighted some habits that I wanted to go over this year, or the first habits that I wanted to study basically. And it does have both book 1 and book 2 for the table of contents in this book 1 here. So you can see both of them in both books. Does that make sense? All right. So then we have the introduction, and then we have how to use. And I think this is the most important part here. So now it does say that you should read Laying Down the Rails first. Now I don't have that book and I haven't read it, but I personally think that I'm sure that's a good idea, but you can just use these if you want to save some money. But of course, if you really want to understand, get the Laying Down the Rails book. So you're going to select one habit to work on at a time, okay? So you're not going to be working on multiple habits, all at once, because a habit needs to really, really focused on, and then it becomes a habit, and then you no longer need to focus on it, and you can move on to another habit. But so it says you can do the 3 foundational habits first, which are obedience, attention, and truthfulness. You could pick and choose which habit to do based on the needs in your family, and you can rotate the categories. So in other words, like the ones I chose here, I tried to choose one from each category. And so I, you don't want to do all, let's say, religious habits or all physical habits. You want to get a wide variety, of course, meeting the needs of your family too. Or you could just go in the order listed in the book. Now, that could work, but that's not personally what I would want to do. Okay, so then basically once or twice a week, you're going to read a lesson together, and then every day help your children apply what they learned by practicing the new habit. Okay, so let me show you here. So we have parent prep, and it tells you what pages to read in the Laying Down the Rails. But I still think you can do the parent prep without that. That's just my opinion, but I'm sure, I want to be clear, for true Charlotte Mason followers, get that book. And I'm sure it is so much better to use that book. But I just think that, if you're just wanting some habit training material, I'm not really like a true Charlotte Mason follower. I just thought this looked really good, so it kind of depends on what exactly you're going for there. Okay, so these are some things you're going to think about before you start. So goals for this habit celebration, ideas, other activities, additional stories, poems, quotations, Bible verses, a person or story from my life that demonstrates this habit. Okay, and then you have lesson 1 and lesson 2, then lesson 3, lesson 4, lesson 5, lesson 6, and I'll show you more in just a second. Lesson 7, lesson 8, lesson 9, lesson 10, 11, 12. Okay, so there's 12 habits. So if you do it twice a week, this habit would take you, 12 lessons. So if you did twice a week, then it would take you 6 weeks. And so that's about right, from what I understand, to work on a habit. And then there's some notes here about choose the best way for your family to work through the habits in this book. And that's kind of what it just talked about. And remember to allow 6 to 8 weeks to work on this habit. So like I said, if you do it twice a week, that goes perfectly. So each lesson is a little bit different. So read the definition and discuss cleanliness. So that's what this is on, cleanliness. And then share the children any goals you've identified. Read the biblical principle found in Ecclesiastes 10:18. And then, so basically it's giving a foundation. And then lesson 2, you're going to evaluate how well they feel they accomplish how well they feel when they accomplish a clean room. And then you're going to read this story about dust under the rug. And then here's kind of a important, this is like the point here. Keep your room clean, aired, and odor-free. Okay, and then that lesson was just a story. And then lesson 3, you're going to read and discuss the second point with consideration for why such things would need to be aired out. So air out any clothing or bedding that will be used again before washing. And then you got a little poem. So each one you can see that there's a point, a main thing. I can even see you going as far as using these as copywork or even creating like posters with them for reminders. But, that's just my idea. Lesson 4, read and discuss the point here. Then read and discuss the quotations. I mean, this is very, very short. This is the whole lesson. So you're just focusing on that. Discuss the first part of point 4. And then there's an activity. Here, choose 1 or 2 cleanliness areas of your children's lives that need extra help and take 5 to 10 minutes to go through the process and show them exactly what you expect from them in this area. So, you're taking the time to be specific on what you're expecting. Let's say you're talking about washing hands and brushing teeth or flossing or whatever. So you're going to really be specific on what you expect so that there's no questions. And so you're just taking that time so then in the future they can do it really well. Lesson 6, learn to wash hands before meals. Lesson 7, going to read 3 Little Pigs, and you see there's a little point there. Lesson 8, discuss cleanliness regarding food preparation. Lesson 9, discuss how cleanliness is a service to others. Lesson 10, look back over your habit training time on cleanliness and encourage one another with the changes you've seen. And then there's an activity again. Making a chart with pictures to post in their bedroom or in the bathroom for like the steps of making their bed, brushing their teeth, combing their hair, etc. So, and then lesson 11, discuss other aspects of cleanliness that are important to your family, such as keeping vehicles clean or leaving an area as clean or cleaner than when you arrived. And then lesson 12, finish up with any other discussion, ideas, or celebration your family enjoys. Keep up this habit while going forth to concentrate on a new one. So basically, you're just taking time like twice a week to specifically focus and talk about and work on that habit. Then each day, you're going to pay attention to it. It's going to be in the forefront of your minds and your kids' minds, and you're going to be focusing on that for a good 6 to 8 weeks before focusing on something else. And hopefully in that time, it will have truly became a habit. So that is, it all follows that same method. it's pretty simple. So there's stories and poems and activities and Bible verses and the little points here, that like I said, I think would make great copy work. So we got that. And then, in the back, there's a habits index if you want to look at that. And then book 2 is the same thing, just more habits. So again, it shows you book 1 and then book 2. And then, so in book 2, we have moral habits, physical habits, and religious habits. And so it's exactly the same thing there. So anyway, I hope that helps. There's so many habits between the both of these that this could take you, if you start when they're, kindergarten, go all the way through high school. There's plenty of habits to work on. So I hope that was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like this type of content. And make sure to subscribe if you love all things homeschool. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.